Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest
down to the queens.
Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and everybody inside and outside of the gender spectrum. Welcome back to Stardom Quest Gold, the best weekly Stardom and Marigold podcast anywhere in the world. I'm as always Alex, and I'm joined by Dylan. Hi, Dylan.
Hi, Alex. Hi, everybody. How's it going now?
It's interesting to say the least.
Hmm.
Everybody seems to think Joshi is really bad in my circles, which is very fun because there was definitely yesterday there was a bunch of people being like, "Yeah, it's such a down year," and I was like, "Yeah, you know."
I would generally agree.
Yeah. So it's not great because Chelsea are also really bad. So it's just all not going my way.
I think Joshi is coming and going in waves this year a lot more than usual. There's no real consistency because I think you mentioned it. That's like half the companies have just kind of fallen off the face of the earth. In terms of both like visibility and quality. But then again, like that Sendai show sounded really good, and I haven't gotten to see it yet.
I've not like people are talking about it and they're like that was good, but yeah. So that's not very promising. No, that's
I mean,
me.
I think the problem is just like people are not a fan of Sendai's booking, which is not surprising. It's literally every year this happens basically with Sendai, where it's like they have like a good like 6 month sprint of cool things happening or things happening at all, and then they go back to the basics and nobody likes it.
Well, that's fun. But I guess you can.
Go ahead.
I was gonna do the plug and bring up No Limit.
Yeah. We don't have to bring up No Limit. We don't know what we're doing. But I've really enjoyed making video edits lately.
Fun.
So there's several on my Twitter, and on my TikTok, in fact. My personal TikTok.
So you made a thing for Seri. Was that one of your video edits, or?
Yes, I made a Seri and a Nai video edit about
fantastic
to Michael Jackson. Yeah. And then I legitimately just 10 minutes ago I released a video edit as well.
Wow, busy.
Yeah. I have writer's block, so I'm trying to like find ways to be creative, like and to not feel bad about myself. So yeah, I made a Dylan core video of all my favorite things.
Okay, that sounds great. All right. Oh,
so check out the Twitter.
Yes, and head on over to 5-star-network.com for all the latest articles and podcasts from the wonderful world of pro wrestling. You guys, your last thing was previewing the N1 victory. I saw that ended today with an interesting winner. Did you guys predict Masa? Did you guys?
No, we didn't predict Masa anywhere near the final.
Interesting.
He's the tag champion.
Push kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, he's the current GHC heavyweight tag champion.
Okay.
And they don't push them. Like that's not a thing. Like they don't just have the tag champion usually just win the shit. So I was shocked. I imagine that to some degree this was changed due to the Ozawa thing. But yeah, I mean shit, he's dope. Masa's awesome. I actually really like the chairman gimmick, which I didn't expect to, because it is a bit of a departure from his usual stuff. But I've liked him as a heel. I think he's a really good bully, and yeah, good for Masa. Also, one of Hokuto's kids. So
yes, yeah, the influence lives on. All right, I guess we'll start with Marigold. And really, there's only one place to start, which is with the departure of Naho Yamada. It was announced on social media that she was leaving the company, not retiring just yet, but she's kind of gone blank. Her social media was deleted a while back. and then she was removed from the roster page. And then this announcement came, and it was something that I think I felt was going to happen. You know, I don't think you delete your social media as a wrestler unless you're not coming back to it, especially in Japan where they kind of push social media as like a ticket selling presence. Um, and it's quite disappointing because I think she really only scratched the surface of what she could do in Marigold. She was only there for like 2 months, but she was really
She's
impressive.
great. Yeah.
And you know, I think they could still use somebody like her, kind of further down the card because they really don't have many pin eaters, which I think the Grand Prix proved, and they've kind of just keep 50-50ing everybody. And I feel like Naho was somebody they were comfortable pinning, so it's a real shame that she's kind of gone. And I don't know whether she's going to come back or not. If she does, it will probably be in a very limited capacity, maybe on the indies or something. But yeah, it's just a shame because she looked like a great signing, and it's just kind of been completely derailed by injury.
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, I feel like this is and I hate to even invoke this name. It feels like a Tsuki Hoshino sort of situation, uh,
Mm.
where a wrestler kind of is like, well, I didn't have enough of a career to retire, um,
Mhm.
but I'm not gonna be around anymore. Um, 'Cause I don't really see her going anywhere else. I mean, it's possible that they were just like, "Hey, if you do return, it probably won't be for like another year, because depending on certain knee injuries, like you could be out for upwards of 18 months,
Yeah.
if it gets if there's any complications and this and that.
Mhm.
Um, so it's very possible they're like, if you ever can return, we just can't pay you like we can't pay you every month until you return a year and a half from now, sort of thing. Like it's possible that that's the case because
Yeah, maybe.
I don't expect her to wrestle elsewhere, um unless she goes back to actress, uh which still I question that, considering when she joined actress it just kind of doesn't seem like her environment anymore. It felt like her environment left, like the place she grew up in went to Marigold. So I don't really expect her to pop up anywhere else unless it is actress, and even then I'm doubtful that she ever wrestles again, which is a shame. Um,
Mm,
Obviously, I hope she does one day get to come back, and wherever it is, I'd be happy to see her. But yeah, it's a bummer, real bummer.
definitely. And the other news, kind of the more surprising news, was that during one of the recent shows, Mirai announced that she will also be leaving the company. Her last date is on the 13th of October at Korakuen Hall. I think this is something that I wasn't shocked by because I think as soon as Shuji Kondo came in as like the overseer of training, and she had this really weird GP where it felt like she was at 75% speed the entire time, I was like, okay, something feels weird. But I wasn't going to bring it up because I assumed Marigold contract ended in May because the company
Hmm.
started in May, so it would be May through to the next May. So I didn't think, like, I thought if even if she does leave, it'll be in a few months' time. It's whatever. So this announcement really caught me off guard. Like a big shock that one of the founders is gone, and like you're without now three of the founding members of Marigold, like Julia, Nanai, Mirai, all moved on now, and it's kind of insane that it's going to happen this quickly, and that just in a month's time, it's like they're going to lose such a big piece. And obviously, we can dive into that in a bit. But yeah, like, what did you? How was your response to the news?
Very bad. I I had a bad feeling after the Mai Sakurai match.
Yeah,
Um,
you'd mentioned it, like they were crying and everything. I was like, yeah, but it'll be months away, surely.
yeah, it just felt weird. And not to pretend like I know things, but it did seem like Shuji Kondo coming in, like you said, uh, kind of filled the slot that Mirai was in, of her being the trainer that everybody kind of credits Mirai with training. I mean, just a few months ago on commentary, I don't listen to English commentary anymore for obvious reasons, but a few months ago on commentary, Sonny brought up that Mirai and Utami were the two heads of training, and
Hmm.
that's what we're progressing on without Nanai. And so with Chikanda coming in and the visible head of training otherwise being Utami, and Mirai just kind of scooting into the background of a lot of the training things that would get released and kind of leaked and whatnot, posted on social media, Mirai wasn't anywhere near the center anymore. I was like, it's a bit strange. And then yeah, the My Sakurai match kind of gave me a bad feeling. But the thing is that it's like with something like that, it felt so unbelievable that I was like, I'm probably just overreacting, and I wasn't. I hate that I wasn't overreacting because it's a real bummer. I think even taking into account her weaker Dream Star, I still think that's like you're looking at the next world champion.
Mm.
If she stays, like I think there's no doubt in my mind she would have beat Miku for the belt. Um, if she had stayed, and even if you're just kind of looking at like historically, um, you now don't have like any of like the top 5 best like highlights of year 1 Marigold currently wrestling on the roster. Um,
Mm.
or at the end of October, because it's like Shozuki is out for an undisclosed amount of time. She's changing her her what's it called, rehab, because it wasn't working or whatever.
Yeah.
So we don't know when she comes back. Then you have Nanai retired. You have Saori in Stardom. You have Mirai leaving. If you want to include Bozilla, I probably will. But if you want to include Bozilla, Bozilla is in Stardom as well. I checked. There are only like 2 or 3 matches from year 1 Marigold that could be replicated at the end of October. Um,
Wow.
that are like I rated 8+, right? Like a 4-star up.
Hmm.
And it's my Sakurai like 3 times, and also the gauntlet. Like that's it.
Oh yeah.
Uh, so it's like fuck. Like what are we like? Like obviously since then, Izuki stepped up, Seri stepped up, even Rhea has stepped up to have like great matches. That like there are great matches. This isn't the end of great matches in Marigold, but it is such a wild departure from where we were year 1. Uh, it really shook my enjoyment of wrestling. Thinking
Yes.
about it, really.
I really felt bad for you because I viewed Mirai as the trainer who was instilling this like really grounded, intelligent identity into Marigold. And then like during this GP, it felt like that just completely went away. And now she's going too. And I was like, you finally got a promotion that was kind of playing into stuff you like with
Mhm.
the technical aspects and the enhanced kind of grappling. And it's just in the space of 2 months been like washed away. I really felt bad for you.
Yeah, like I've gotten into arguments about this, about like about the house style of Marigold and how it changing is a bad thing.
Hmm.
Um, and it's like the conversation is always, well, Koki shouldn't be doing grappling. She's not good at grappling. Chiaki shouldn't probably be doing grappling. She's not very good at grappling. And I loved the idea that I could believably see Koki try to grapple, because you have to be able to grapple in this company. If you don't, like, you're gonna look like a fucking chump. So like the fact that Koki can't grab a headlock and do some like mat based stuff, even for a little bit, even if she isn't great at it, the fact that she was trying is a benefit to your company. Um, and I'm really bummed that I just don't think we'll ever see, Koki mat grappling or Chiaki mat grappling, or half of the wrestlers mat grappling, because that is such a pivotal part. I always bring it up. I mean, we've been doing this show for 5 years. You can go back and watch the tapes. My biggest problem with Shuri's world title run was that she was
Hmm.
the only one who knew how to actually grapple, and everybody tried to grapple with her without ever grappling in any other match ever. And they just looked bad. Like they
Yeah.
weren't trained to do that. And Shuri was like, well, that's what I do. So you're going to have to figure it out. The beauty of Marigold is that they were trained to do that. Every single one of them had to, at least to some degree, understand the Mirai style. And I think Mirai stylistically was like the most advanced wrestler that wasn't like, not Nanai, obviously. She was the most interesting. So losing her both as a trainer and as a wrestler does really hurt stylistically hurt a lot of what I enjoyed from year one Marigold. Um,
Mm.
and yeah, I don't know. It just it is a real upsetting uh, moment because it is weird. It's not a work, but they keep kind of saying shit that makes it sound like a work. Like
Yeah,
on pretty good authority would say it's not a work. Like I'm pretty positive. Um,
it would be a very
it
inventive
would,
work shoot. Like you don't get the
yeah,
media involved for a work shoot. Like they wouldn't be doing
exactly.
interviews if she
Like
was on the way out.
they're working a lot of people
Mm.
if if this is a work, but they keep just bringing shit up. You know what I mean? Like my Sakurai is like, I don't really believe her. Like she said that in an interview yesterday. I don't really believe Mirai's thing about the results being like she's like
Yeah.
something's up, and Darkest Revolution is trying to get her in the group, and a bunch of stuff like this and that. It's just really weird because at first I was like people were like, oh, it's a work. I was like, that's not how works are executed usually in Japanese companies. Um, like this is a very like this is what Hazuki did, like one for one when she retired the first time. Like this is the exact methodology, and that clearly was not a work. So I don't know. It's there's like these little signs of a work that make it kind of weird, but I digress. Um, yeah, it's a real bummer.
Yeah, it was weird because in the moment, I think I immediately just went, "Oh, well, they'll have enough room to make a play for whomever," because Rossi
Mhm.
isn't afraid to make a free agent signing. I was like, "Oh, well, they can sign this girl, or they could make a play for Hazuki when her deal is up, or whatever." And then it hit me. I was like, even if they did make a play for Hazuki, they have to fill 8 months. That is
Yeah,
next to May before she could arrive, and it really made me go, "Holy shit!" Because we talked last week about how elevating Miko Ono was going to help fill the gap of like the main events that they need to run
but
to
you're
keep
you're
drawing.
losing one of the two big
Yeah,
Miko Auno matches,
yeah. Like
defenseless.
you're losing one of the few credible pay per view challengers and one of the few Cork and main eventers, whether that was for the Twin Star or like the UN or the world title. Mirai could fill that spot, and now she's not there, and you are now down to a main event core of 3 people, and it's like, oh, that's iffy. Well, okay, maybe 4. It depends on how you feel about Mai, but
Mhm.
like
But
that
yeah,
is
yeah,
iffy.
bye. Yeah.
That's not great. And even if they are going to fill that gap, you're either really hoping Yuzuki clicks with the audience as a draw, or you're waiting 8 months to get a Hazuki or Koguma. And
I mean,
neither of those feels super great for a company that still needs to grow.
yeah, I mean, like it's especially like they seem to have slowed down with Seri, mainly so that I would think so that the Senka feud can kind of go to a satisfying conclusion because you
Mm.
can't have Seri be well. Actually, no, Senka's challenging for the 3AW, so
Yeah, but
yeah,
she's
you
gonna get
can.
her ass beat. Like she's going to
Yes,
get
yes,
blasted from pillar to post.
correct. But because I was gonna say it's like, well, you can't have Sari be a world title challenger while Sanka is still getting pinned by Unagi Sayaka, which I don't think she would ever let her do that. But unless she has already, I don't know. But point being, that's like they've kind of like paused on Sari. I also think it's
Mhm.
part of just because Rookie of Stardom is a thing that they want to do and they want to be competitive. So having the world champion be in the Rookie of Stardom or Rookie of Stardom, Rookie of Marigold tournament at the end of the year would be a bit of a
Yeah.
wouldn't really work. But like yeah, I mean there's Mirai leaves a big hole for a
Mhm.
while. And like the signs that we're getting those holes filled are not with Mirai caliber wrestlers, at least yet, right? Like we're seeing Flying Penguin get more time in the Stardom uh, shows. Her versus Mayu obviously was a semi main event match that's moving up. Uh, Coco is coming in, but
Yeah.
she's a 14-year-old, very green
Luchador.
luchadora, and she's gonna do some cool shit, and I'm excited to see her. But like, it's not like that's gonna be filling the gap.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like, obviously we fantasy uh, promote getting in Maya Yukihi, for example, to kind of fill that slot, or someone like her. Mainly Maya Yukihi, because I feel like she's the one
She's
freelancer.
buddies with like most of the main event scene.
Yeah, she's
So,
she's she's friends with most of the main event scene. Julia isn't around. She is very good still. She just never turns it up. But like when
yeah.
she does, she's great. Um, she kind of is a mover in a lot of those ways. It seems like any beef she had with Rossi has dissipated. Um, because I remember once upon a time she was asked about joining a Rossi company, and
Yes.
she was like, "Ah, I'm over 30. He don't really like people who are this old." Um, I think that has seemingly died down.
I've
So
been
it's like, yeah,
catching strays for forever.
yeah. Oh, that was a crazy stray. Are we going to
Yeah.
talk about that for a second? The Maki Ito
Makito.
of it
Oh,
all. Because yeah, Rossi, in response to the Mirai thing, was like, "We will be actively pursuing filling this gap, but not with Maki Ito, because no." Um,
I feel like that one may require context. I just read it as he was getting out ahead of it because why
yes,
wouldn't you think of Maki Ito? Like she is the most high profile free agent in Joshi. Like the obvious assumption is he would go for a star, you know. So
yeah,
I just thought it was him getting out ahead of it because he has been doing the whole I don't poach people anymore thing. I remember when Mayu jumped and he was like, I definitely did not poach Mayu Iwatani. I did not speak to her until after her press conference. I did it all above
which
board.
which is a super funny thing because like Triple H 2 days ago was like, "Oh yeah, I'm poaching everybody, brother. I have people call me with a year left on their deal trying to get." I was like, "You're not supposed to say that."
Yeah.
Like it could be true, but that's not a polite that like that's you shouldn't be saying that. But yeah, no. So yeah, Rossi said that he is kind of looking to fill that gap. I think there is a recognition that Mirai was a big deal, and I think
Mhm.
Mayu and Utami have done a great job of purveying that to the newspapers, so to speak. Um, Mayu's been like, dude, this is like a fucking blow. Like she is and they've both been like putting over Mirai big time, um, in on her way out, and then being like, we're gonna do what we can, but Mirai will be a very missed part of the roster. Um, which also leads me to the fact that like I see people getting really weird as they usually do with Marigold about the Mirai leaving thing.
Oh, dude, I
Um,
saw people be like, "Oh, Rossi like pushed her out. Why is I hate him so much?" I'm like, she's literally said in every interview she wants to retire. Like, I don't know what he has to
yeah,
do with her desire to retire from like before the company was even a year old. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where she's constantly saying, "I don't think I'm going to be wrestling for super long. I want to do as much as I can, and I can't do that in one company." Which if you've followed Mariah's career at all, that's just kind of like the MO, you know what I mean? It's not like this is a Marigold specific thing. But um yeah, I don't know. Point being, I imagine Mirai and Marigold will continue to have a very positive relationship. Frankly, part of me is, and this is again a fantasy booking type of thing. Part of me is wondering if the Darkness Revolution of it all, like the teases, is because Mirai wants to work Marigold every couple months, and she'll just be like the Yumioka of Darkness Revolution,
Mhm.
where she's just kind of like off to the side, but she like comes in to tag with Chiaki. I don't think that's gonna happen, but that would be kind of funny because I do expect her to go freelance and kind of you know uh, burn out on the indies sort of thing. That's ultimately what I'm expecting. I don't really expect her to go to Stardom um, or TJPW or I would love her to sign with Sendai. That'd be interesting, but I don't think that'll happen either. Uh, just because it doesn't seem like that's what she wants anymore. And if she
Mm.
did, she would probably stay in Marigold. from all
Yeah, I
from
don't get
from
the
all
indication.
signs. All signs point to if she wanted to remain a full-time wrestler with the company, she would just stay in Marigold.
Yeah,
But
I don't really see the a Stardom thing unless they agree to make her a part timer, which they don't mind. So maybe,
true.
but yeah, I don't think she would go back as a full time wrestler. Um, yeah, I mean that's the Mariah of it all. It's a very big loss for the coming months, and it's just going to be a big thing to book around. Changes for me a lot of my predictions for Sumo Hall because I don't think you can belt up Iono anymore, and I don't think you can have Yuzuki lose anymore. They might have to strap the rocket here to Victoria Yuzuki. They might have to take the long approach on Miko Iono. Like it changes a lot in the near term future, and obviously like come May, they do make a play for Hazuki. That's great, but that is still 8 months worth of shows to fill, which is going to be very difficult.
Yeah.
And that's no guarantee on Hazuki either. That's just like the most obvious name. She
I know she
clearly
might be.
does
She
not want
might
to be
be.
in her current employer. Like,
She might be winning the Sendai tags, which hey, I mean, Marigold and Sendai uh
mhm.
seem to have reminded us that they have a fine relationship. So, you know, but yeah, I don't think Kazuki's a sure thing, even if it seems like it's just a matter of time before she gets out of Stardom.
Yeah, but Mayu likes her, so who knows?
But
Um,
one point on something that you mentioned, Miku winning the belt. I still think Miku wins the belt, but you do bring up a good point. I don't think anybody can have a bad reign that isn't Utami. Um, in that, I think Utami is so protected as a personality in Marigold and Joshi. Like she's a respected, well liked, popular wrestler. And a a certified wrestler. She has tenure, so to speak. That she can have a mediocre reign. I mean, she's had a pretty mediocre reign. I think outside of uh versus Mirai and versus Takumi, the other two matches haven't been particularly good. Um, I mean they've been fine, but like so it's like Utami has such a high floor as a wrestler that you can just like, okay, you're going to keep the belt for a while longer and just kind of tough it out and we'll just and stall for time. I don't think wrestlers that aren't Utami can do that.
mm,
So you do bring up a good point that it's like if we're eh, if as a company Marigold is preparing for some rough months when they just don't really have a main event scene before they put Seri on top, before they put Yuzuki on top, before they do this and this and that. If they're preparing for some dry months, I don't think it's insane to keep the belt on Utami because Utami can withstand a few dry months. I don't
yeah,
think Miku can.
no,
Um,
and as well as that, it's like after Miku, who the hell wins it? It's just Mayu, literally just
yeah,
Mayu. You can't
I,
just
I
run
keep
through
forgetting about
everybody.
Mayu. That like, yeah, Mayu could just save the save the
Yeah, she
day
can,
as
but
she
I
usually
feel
does.
like they
But
want to wait on Mayu's
yeah,
big run. But we should get into some of the review stuff. Just there's only the one show, which was Marigold Battleheart Day 1 and Shinkiba First Ring. They did 275 fans here. Show opened with Yuki Yamazaki beating Megaton and Nao Ishikawa in 6 minutes.
oh
Yuka
yeah.
got to pin over Megaton.
Um, I apologize to everybody listening, because this is a visual gag. But how do you feel about the new logo for Stardom Quest Gold? It's in the Discord.
That's I like that. Yuki Yamazaki's thing is so funny.
I love it. For those who don't know, Yuki Yamazaki got a new logo, and it's a big ass fucking bulldog, with sharp teeth and a crazy collar with a big Yuka shirt on. And I think that's fucking sick as hell. And I put that over Saya Kamitani in our beautiful cover art. Um, yeah, I like Yuka's new hair. I think her hair looks cool. I think Yuka in
Mhm.
general is cool. Um, I was kind of like zoned out in this match. I wasn't locked in. much. There was some funny stuff. I do remember that, but yeah, it was a match that happened, and Yuka won. Shouts out.
Yeah, I actually came away from this with a lot of respect for Yuki Yamazaki. I think
Mm.
she played the straight woman in it very well. Like, I feel like for somebody who came in and seemed so one note, she has been very versatile and adaptable. Like, she can be a bit of a dorky babyface with Seri. She can be a bit of a meaner wrestler, and then here, obviously, she was just playing into the comedy of it all really well. I think she's got so many strings to her bow, and it's kind of impressive just how quickly she picks up everything.
Yeah, I think that she's just awesome. Frankly, like I think in a normal year she's like runaway rookie of the year. Um,
Mm,
you know what I mean? Because it's like she has everything you want from a rookie. That isn't insane. You know, like that isn't like put the red belt on her now. Uh, she's just really good at basically everything. She's very charismatic. She's very likable in general. Like you want to see her and watch her. Um, and yeah, like you said, she has a very good comedic timing that meshes well with these two numbskulls over here. Uh, who I adore as well. But yeah, I also love that she just fucking won with a sleeper hold. She's like, I'm choking this
yeah.
bitch out. I don't give a fuck. Like it's over. Um, like I thought that was cool. I just think Yuka's awesome. Shouts out to Mad Dog.
Hell yeah. We then had Arina Yamanaka beat Hummingbird in 6.5 minutes. This was an enjoyable undercard match. I think, Hummingbird's definitely starting to show a lot more than she used to. And look, we all know I like Arena. I think she's very
She's
good.
awesome. Yep.
If they really want to, they should ask her to wrestle as much as she can for like the next 6 months and just kind
Yeah.
of give her a mini push.
Well, and that's the thing.
She's
It
awesome.
seems like we didn't get to watch them because they aren't up. But it seems like Chan Yoda, Rossi's kind of hinting at like she's main event caliber, guys. She's important. Take note of her. She's winning main event matches.
Hmm.
Um, which I think is also a good thing. I really like this match. Shocker, I know. I know I always pontificate about Hummingbird, but I really think if you put her in singles matches, she thrives quite well.
Yeah.
Um, like her in the early tag matches, like the super undercard tag matches, the first of the show tag matches, usually isn't particularly great. She kind of gets lost in the shuffles or everything. It doesn't usually, it isn't always great performance from her. And you put her in triple threat matches, she again kind of like is a bit lost sometimes. But if you just give her one opponent and just have them wrestle and have a few minutes of just like actual wrestling and straight up work, she does quite well nowadays.
Mm.
I would love to see her challenge for a super fly belt and lose emphatically. Like that. That's where
Yeah.
I'm.
No, we no,
That's the
we
goal.
don't get that. We don't do that. We don't defend that belt
It's
around here.
well, it's literally getting defended in like 2 weeks.
Well, yeah. Okay. Not against the scrubs. The
Yeah, true.
scrubs allowed, I guess. Um, let's see. We then went on to Misamatsui beating Kizuna Tanaka in 7 minutes. This blew away like most of the GP output for both of them. It's pretty insane.
I
Like,
wouldn't say
where
from
was this?
Kazuna. I think I agree. Like you're right. Um, but I Kazuna was trying her best in the GP. But
Yeah,
yeah, this
no,
match
she was
was
cool, but
better.
Matsui was better. I also liked them working the back. I think it's just really
Yes, me
an
too.
obvious place to work, and Misa I think did it really well. But yeah, just in
Yeah.
general, Misa looked like a different wrestler. So
Yeah, no, I agree. I think she's probably given like an assignment in the GP. It's like you gotta work on the heel work aspect of your game, uh, and
it's
that
fine, but
wasn't
not with
great,
figure four leg
or it
lock
wasn't
for
as great.
forever.
Uh, it wasn't as great as just Misa Matsui being
Yeah,
Misa Matsui, and being kind of a dick, which she's always been. Like she's always been
yeah.
a low gremlin. So
All right. We then had Chikagoto, Koki, Amare, and Minami Yuki beat Darkness Revolution team of Chiaki, Nagisa Nozaki, and Rei Seto in 10.5 minutes. Twin Tower is just so natural. I feel like as
yeah,
soon as they slipped into their roles, it was like, yeah, this never should have stopped. Like they fill the gaps for each other really well. This is one of the stronger Koki performances because everybody around her was just able to play into what she does pretty well. I think Nozaki really helps the Darkness Revolution tags. She's just veteran leader in the room who knows what she's doing. Rhea is still getting there, she's trying. But just in general, I think a lot of people looked at home in this, and I'm quite happy that Twin Tower kind of got the win and said, "Hey, look, let's get back together again." Because I think them winning the Twin Stars is a great next step
Eminent.
for both of them. Like I think
Yeah.
Koki is a fine tag champion. I know people hated her as GHC, and I get it. But as Twin Star, I think her and her Chica could do the job for a couple of months. So I'm quite into that, and I like them back together again.
Yeah, and I mean, not to be that guy, but I think anything's kind of an improvement on the Magenta run, um, which is a real bummer. Because, like, if you remember, when the company first started, I was like, "Get Magenta in there, man. Get
Hmm.
Magenta in this tag division. Like, that's what we need." And then they did, and it just hasn't really worked.
Hasn't
Especially on
done
the
anything.
level. Yeah,
Kind of the
that's
main
the
problem.
problem. Ultimately, is that it's like it can't work because, like, what are we doing? Um, so yeah, I mean, I think getting the belts on Twin Tower is for the best. I think it'll work out very well. I like Koki. I really like this match in general. I thought it was a fun one. You never really know with Dragon's Revolution. Sometimes it just doesn't really click, or it's a bit
As I said,
formulaic.
if
But
Nozaki is there, it's usually good enough. She kind of knows just what to do.
yeah, I
It's
I
when
would I
it's
would generally
the
agree.
the Chiaki Rhea Misa trio, then I'm a bit more like,
They're
this
but
could
yeah, the
this could miss.
more yeah, no, I get you. Yeah, I thought the match in general was quite good. And I do like that we're getting Twin Tower back together. So that
Yeah,
means that Chiaki and Misa do not get the tag belts, unfortunately, as I was hoping. But maybe they can dethrone Twin Tower next year.
yeah, quite possible. We then had Mai Sakurai and Miko Ono going to a 15-minute TLD with Mirai and Utami. This was the match where Mirai afterwards announced her departure. And this was kind of, in hindsight, a send-off match. I think watching this live, I'd have thought they were doing Iono Mirai for the UN, just out of nowhere, because they were having these like really emotionally charged exchanges. Um, but everybody got their time, and I thought it was a really good match, and kind of a nice proof of what you're going to miss with Mirai,
Yeah,
because she's one of these like house show workhorses, always able to slot into the main event and just bring it up a level with everybody, and you're gonna have to find a way to replace that. So
that was another problem that I had was that it's like, and this happened with Hazuki as well when she retired. Is that it's like I watched the match and I'm just like, you just had by far the best match of the show, and you're leaving.
yeah,
What the fuck? You know what I mean? Where it's like kind of really upsetting. Because yeah, I really loved this match. I thought it was awesome. I think Utami and Mirai as a team is always fun. They clearly like teaming together, and I always enjoy watching them team together. And them against two of their natural pairings worked super well. Obviously, uh, the Utami Miku minutes I continue to enjoy.
oh yeah,
We'll see if that translates well to a great main event singles. Um, but
possibly
in
main event.
tags,
I don't
yeah.
think it's gonna main event anymore.
Oh shit,
Miss
yeah.
Io Sky lost to Vacker, so I think she's free. So let's
She's
hope.
definitely free. Um, in that regard, yeah. Uh, yeah. I mean, potential main event. In fact, if it's the semi-main event, it'll probably be better. Utami notoriously does her best work in the semi-main event,
Yeah,
including here. Not literally, but she's kind of has that charms to her. So yeah, I mean, I wonder if it will translate well, but I expect it to. And yeah, they worked well together. I'm bummed that Mirai and Mai are really clicking as opponents, and I don't think we'll ever see it again at this rate.
probably not.
I don't know if
Very
they
very upsetting they didn't
have
get
any.
that for the UN.
I don't
Like,
even
that
know
is
if
the
they
one
have
thing.
any. I don't even know if they have any house show tags that are happening over the next
I'm not. They don't even
few
announce
weeks.
cards.
No, they have, because there,
Oh,
there's
really?
only 3 shows before she leaves.
Yeah, I didn't think
Two.
they announced anything.
Um, yeah, Hummingbird is in one of them because Hummingbird has never wrestled Mirai.
Wow.
She brought that up. She tweeted that she's like, I need to before she's gone. Please, I adore her. Please let me wrestle her. So yeah, I'm not sure if we will even ever get Mai versus Mirai again. But yeah, so
Okay.
it's a shame because they've really started clicking
Yeah,
as
that's
opponents.
for sure. I thought they were going to be the next UN, but I
If
guess not.
only.
Um, we then want to, and this is this is one thing I like about Rossi. This is one of the things that when he's eventually gone, I'm really gonna miss. Twice this year, they've had a departure, and he's immediately followed it up by going, "Hey, look at what we're gonna do." When Nanai retired, they immediately announced Sumo Hall, and they got Mayu, Utami, and Aono front and center to do the show closing promo. Here, Mirai leaves, and they immediately go to Seri, Yuzuki, the Little Peach, and Mayu to just have a great tag match. Like
Yep.
he's the only guy who would think to do something like that. Everybody else would have Mirai go on last, but he said no. We're gonna put three of our top young wrestlers in there with the Mayu Iwatani, and they're just gonna go out there and have the most Mayu stupid brain damage match ever. And it's gonna be so fun, and everybody's gonna go, these guys rock. And that's exactly what happened here. I feel like they closed the show and they almost stole all the momentum away from Mirai. I think Yuzuki winning is another indication to me. I think they're really gonna have to go all in on Yuzuki if in a post Mirai world, and I'm starting to believe she's going to beat Mai Sakurai. And I thought Komomo got to look very comfortable in there with Yuzuki. The only person that didn't look comfortable was Seri to a degree. Seri's a weird one because she's excellent, but the Icon family and like the Mayu inspired people just wrestle at a completely different tempo to her. And
Yeah.
she almost feels like she gets lost in the sauce a little bit, where once the grappling ends, she's like, I'm gonna let you guys do all the running around here. I'm not about that life. But the others, I think they all kind of held up their end of the bargain, especially Yuzuki. I mean, her stuff with Minami looked like two veteran main eventers, basically.
Yeah, Seri has the explosiveness, but not the speed. Um,
Yeah,
so it's like it is like a different type of impact sort of thing. Like I think her like individually works well with a Mayu, for example. But in a tag like this, yeah, she's the odd man out for sure. Um, I really liked it though. I thought it was a fun match. I was obviously a little bit distracted and depressed following the Mariah announcement as I watched this live, but I did really like the match. Uh, it's Mayu, it's Seri, it's Izuki, it's Komomo. Obviously, I like the match. Um, yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun. I'm interested in them running Seri versus Mayu at Korakuen. Uh, it's an interesting choice and an interesting timeline, I guess. But yeah, a good one. I thought this was a very good house show in general. I mean, Shinkiba, so
yeah.
it's like Tokyo is where they turn it up. But
Mhm.
I thought this was just notably a very fun to watch show, top to bottom.
Yeah. I think what I noticed was the shorter runtime. I feel like the
I do.
GP, a lot of shows felt like they had to go longer, whereas now they're back to just being like, you get 2 hours. Here you go. And I always appreciate this more streamlined kind of version
Well, and
of Marigold.
a big part of it is that they like having as much time as possible for like after show stuff
Yes.
because
Yeah.
they do the autograph signings every show. So a lot of it is that's like we should probably like like it's a whole nother side of the business that we don't get to personally see because it's not
Yeah.
on screen. But like they probably make just as much, if not more money after the show than they do during the hour and a half show.
Probably.
Because I think about that is that it's like and this is an indie struggle a lot is that it's like but it's also a thing like the debate between WW and AEW is that it's like is a hour show worth the money you are paying to go to it? A 1 hour
Yeah.
long show. Um, sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. With Marigold, I would say it usually is pretty, it's good enough. An hour and a half show, and then you get to meet the wrestlers and take pictures after, and it's a whole, sort of another side to it.
Mhm.
So I think that's probably a big part of it as well, where it's like getting the most bang for your buck as a attendee. They are probably thinking that it's like, why don't we just save time? It's not like we have much more to do.
Yeah.
Like they get everybody on the shows and it works.
Yeah, no, I agree. Um, over the past weekend, then we didn't get to see these shows. They were on VOD. I think they're starting to go up tomorrow. There was nothing really of note on the second one, the second day of Battle Heart. That was in Shizuoka, so they just kind of did the usual stuff. Today they did set up some stuff. They actually had the main event featured Kizuna and Shinno. Oh no, Kizuna wasn't in it. Was she? She
I don't know
wasn't.
if she
That's
was in
weird.
the main, but she
She
was
wasn't.
there.
So Shinno was in the main, and afterwards she actually cut a promo and said that she wants to face Kizuna Tanaka at Sumo Hall, and proposed that their mother is second for them. As for people who don't know, Kazuna's mother is Yumi Fukawa of
Yes.
Argion, and Shino's mother is Michiko Omakai, also of
Also
Argion.
Virus, yeah.
I'm pretty sure they were a tag team,
They were.
or they were rivals for the tag belts. I can't remember, but yeah, tag team.
They were a tag team.
So they're going to second their kids for this generational thing at Sumo Hall, which I think is a nice match for both of them. I think Kazuna will get to like mix it up with somebody who she can bully a little bit. I think Shino will have her first big test of like how will you do with somebody who's not a veteran, you know. So I think that's a very interesting match to do at Sumo Hall, and I do like tying in Michiko and Fukawa. Like we've said for a long time, I think Shino and Michiko should get a twin star tag match because I think that would be just awesome. Like I think Michiko and Makai could probably still deliver.
Yeah,
So
I
maybe that
was
sets up
thinking
something.
it's a real bummer that Fukawa had like brain injuries that caused her retirement, because it's like I would love to see this as a tag match, but I get it. Only one of the moms can really do it without being a severe risk to themselves. But yeah, no, I really like that match. I think it's a cool match setup, and it's a good match for um, Sumo Hall, because I feel like the problem with these big shows is that it's like, where do you put some of these people? You know what I
Mm,
mean? Um, and I think getting Kazuna and Shino in a 7-minute match, a short one, just straight up singles, probably opening the show, will be able to be a highlight for both of them. Like Kazuna hasn't really gotten that much. Like she
yeah.
doesn't really get to do. I'm blanking on what her previous pay-per-view matches were outside
She was
of
in the gauntlet,
the
wasn't
Twin
she?
Tower one. Yeah, I think she was. But see, like I don't know. I think getting her like a moment, like a singles match, a signature singles match, is a cool thing, and I'm
Hmm.
happy to see it.
Yumi
It does
Fukawa
make me a
did
little
wrestle
worried. I'm sorry.
in
Go ahead.
2024 on Arjan's final in a six-woman tag. So
Oh, was she in an actual tag? I thought she was
yeah,
in an exhibition. That's wild.
yeah, it was a 10-minute draw. So she might, put it on. I don't know if Rossi would want to do that, but I think you could probably have it like third from the top on a Korakuen of like the mother and daughter teams. I think that would be pretty cool.
That'd be really cool.
But maybe he will just not because he's a bit weird sometimes. They have said that they know the Sumo Hall card and they're going to announce it on the 9th, which is very weird because it's before the
Corkin.
Korakuen on the
Yeah.
13th. And if they do have EO, I don't know if they will announce her at a press conference or if they'll do Mayu versus X and then
It'll
have
probably be Mayu
the
versus
EO
X.
video promo. Because that video promo seems very effective. It was effective for Utami. I imagine it would be very effective for Mayu if it's her, I guess. But I have to lean towards it being EO at this point. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. That'll be a Thursday, the press conference, so we'll have to cover it like the next week. So it's very awkward. Um, but we also had Seri challenge Mayu for the Superfly title, and it's happening at Korakuen, I assume. They haven't announced it, but I don't know where else they would do it. So that's everything I think for Marigold to
Um.
wrap up.
Well, small things. One, I'm worried. Oh yeah, about Sumo Hall. I wonder if we're getting Senka versus Seri in a singles.
Probably.
Because I thought so, but I don't know. I feel like we're getting a lot of singles matches here with Kizuna and Shino added to the plate.
Uh, they had 5, didn't they, last time? So I think you can do 5.
Yeah, true.
You
That's
don't have
true.
a
But
GHC match to get on, so you can just add on one.
yeah, no, you're right. You're right. But the other thing is that Rhea Seto is in the Jajauma tournament in Sendai Girls. She's returning home for a tournament, which is kind of crazy. Not literally home. She's not from Sendai, but to her original promotion. So that's cool. I'm excited for that. Um, they're gonna have her uh, wrestle Yuna. Like that's pretty noticeably. I forget who Rhea's first round opponent is, but I think she's just gonna beat her. Um, if I'm not insane, is she facing Sora? Yeah, I think she's facing Sora Yame. So she should beat her, and then get to face Yuna. And if for those who don't know, Yuna and Rhea were the two Sendai trainees that came out in the past couple years, and Rhea immediately was better than Yuna. Like I think they debuted on the same show, or maybe even against each other, and Rhea was immediately better than Yuna, and she dipped. So yeah, I'm excited to see that play out. I would love to see Rhea beat Yuna. I would love to see Rhea win the tournament, or at least get to the finals, ideally against Spike of that tournament. And yeah, I'm very interested in what we will get to see from Rhea's return to Sendai Girls.
Um, yes, you got everything there. I think. I don't see the cards to preview. I don't. This is a problem with Marigold. Their website is bad. That's why I knew when they updated it to take Naho off. I was like, yeah, that's actually big news. They don't do any. They don't do shit on there. Because
When
what
is the
are they
next
running
show?
next? I don't even know. It's on. Oh, it's the 4th of October. So we wouldn't be covering it anyway.
Yeah, no, it's not
Tochigi.
for a while.
It's weird that
Oh,
they're
yeah,
not running anything this weekend.
we didn't really mention it. Flying Penguin made an impression on Mayu. That is all that has happened.
Yeah, I would have thought that my wrestling penguin in a singles match would lead to a like being like, oh well, she signed. But I guess not. And I only thought she would sign because she posted that one picture without her mask, and I was like, Rossi is so gonna sign her. Like this is the peak Rossi. Like that is so him. But I guess
Oh,
not.
and also, since we only kind of briefly covered it, Coco is going to wrestle at the end of the month. In
Yeah, so they brought Coco in for
uh,
3 dates next month, which is kind of interesting because it's kind of easing her in. I know she lives kind of out rurally and works with the
Fukuoka, I
family.
believe.
Yeah, she's part of this like family thing. It's called My Way, and I think it's like all just her relatives that are training her and stuff. And she's a very interesting talent. Like she's like does 450s and does like topes and kind of stuff that we haven't seen since Veni. And before her, you're looking at like Aquino, like Prime Aquino. So those are pretty great comparisons. She's going to be a very interesting wrestler for Marigold to bring in at all, and probably eventually poach her away from her poor family. Um, but you know, she's somebody who I think could really catch the eye because she's not going to be like anybody else, and she's somebody who, if she was able to come in even semi regularly, you could probably give her the Superfly and just let her dazzle people, you know. But I don't know how it's gonna work. I don't know if she'll be around enough for that, but I think she would be a good addition to something like that and somebody for like a Komomo to measure up to or a hummingbird. Because I
Yeah,
think there's this weird subset of the roster now who are like really fast and really agile, and they just don't really have anything to do with it. So I think you're gonna start throwing those guys a bone.
oh my God. Like when you just like look up Coco on Twitter, uh there's like her doing like lion salts out to the
Yeah.
like acai
Oh,
moonsaults and
she's
shit.
crazy.
Like she, yeah, no, I know. I remember she went viral a few months ago. People were saying that she's like the female Hayabusa and she's fucking
Yeah.
14. Um, but yeah, I mean, she's already kind of insane, and yeah, I expect a lot of fun things. I imagine that she'll probably be around for whatever Fukuoka shows they have, in the same way that like Flying Penguin is around for whatever Osaka shows that they have. Thing is that she's 14 and Fukuoka
Yeah.
is pretty far from from Tokyo, so any plan on signing her probably won't be at least until she's 16 or 17, if not
Yeah.
18.
Her family is all very active on social media. If you quote tweet that Coco tweet like once, they will all follow you and
Yeah,
engage. It's very funny. It's very cute. I kind of like it. But yeah, she's going to be interesting. Rossi always in scouting mode. You can that's one thing you can always say about him. So that's that for the week, though. I guess from Marigold. It's weird that they're just not running next week. It's very nice. Have a full week off. Basically, we'll just have a small Stardom stuff to talk about next week. Speaking of Stardom, that's where we're gonna go next. Basically, we only have one match to talk about. Earlier today, Stardom ran in Osaka Edion Arena number 2. Do they have the results up on their own website? Yes or no? The answer is no. And do they have the results up on Cage Match? Yes. Cage Match beats
do, yes.
Stardom to the punch. Wow. What I wanted to discuss was that they did 840 fans, I think, here in Edion number 2, which is huge. I mean, I feel like I've only ever seen big Puro shows get 800 in Edion number 2. So that is a record for Stardom, and getting that for just an Artist of Stardom title match is kind of insane, and just shows how hot Stardom is. Like, I wanted to do like a tracker thing to see when they last had less than 500 fans at a house show, because they just seem to always do like 600 to 800 basically everywhere. It's insane right now how, like, what trajectory they're on.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saya Kamitani is bursting the door down, really. What can I say? I tweet this the other day, but she was on like Fuji TV, and they posted a clip, and then like a news article was written by like a huge website, and then there's like TV websites tweeting about her, and I was like, she must have been seen by like millions of eyeballs in the last day. And Stardom actually uploaded like a bunch of her best matches to YouTube as well. So, and she like tweet out like a profile thing. So it seems like the company has really made an effort to like grab these people who would have seen her on TV and be like, hey, listen, she's a wrestler, come to our shows. It seems to work because they've sold out the Korakuen already. They have to put extra tickets on sale. So you're looking at like a 1700-ish for that show, which is going to be pretty insane. Imagine telling people once upon a time Asmi would main event sold out Korakuen. It's kind of crazy.
I would believe it pretty easily.
Yeah, of course you would. The only match for us to review then from today's show was...
Oh, I didn't even get to mention. I think I'm back to being a Saya Kamitani. I'm just getting tired of her. Every time I see her on Twitter, I get kind of annoyed.
Well, I think you're wrong.
I also just think the Saori shit is so funny. It's so comical, and
Kind of.
the fans are so... I don't know, man.
I think it's great. People are ready to shoot. Like, it's pretty awesome. But they do have a bit of an irrational hatred of Sari to an extent. But
It's like I see people being like, Saya's really telling it like it is, and I'm like, bro, she's dodging. She's dodging this motherfucker, bro. And she posted a Tam picture like an hour after their argument just to like fucking engagement farm, and just to be like, well, actually, I had this match this year, so you can't talk to me. I was like, bro, grow up. Like, I don't know. Oh man, like I don't know. And she also hasn't had a great match in a month, so I'm like,
well,
I
okay.
can have way
You can't hold that against her.
Oh, she's had like one match, I know.
Yeah, that was against B
But
Priestley. She did her best. We did praise it.
I thought the match was good for
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can't turn on her now. But
Oh, I
the
can.
one okay, the one match to review was the hate team of Fuki Gendeth, Konami, and Rina beating the Stars trio of Hanan, Momokogo, and Sai Ida in 19 and a half minutes. Konami tapped out Hanan
Okay,
to
what the
get the
fuck is
win.
going on? I'm getting confused with this Konami shit.
They
Like,
like her. I don't know.
she's beating everybody. I swear to God.
Yeah,
Like,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
I don't know either.
It's kind of insane, and she's beating people that matter. Like, why isn't Momo getting pushed like this?
Because Momo got the GP. I don't think you need to follow up a GP win. I think
You
she's fine.
kind of do.
Uh, I mean, you can do the story stuff and just let her have good matches. And the opener of the show got rave reviews, so you know.
Beat Priestley at the scene of the crime every time.
But yeah, I thought this main event was really really good. Like it was just all action, bodies everywhere, constant like near falls that were being cut off. They did a pretty extensive Hana and Rina section, which I wasn't expecting. Like when Rina and Momokoga were going at it, I was like, is this just the finishing pairing already? But then they went into Rina Hanan, and then they got Konami in for Hanan. And I just thought it was really well paced. There was some really good stuff with Ida and Konami where they were like trading chops versus kicks. Fukigen didn't do as much, but she still makes sure to do like one thing per match where you're like, hell yeah, Kyoryo Inama rules. Because she did the little like drop kick into the senton, and it looked awesome. And just generally, like everybody worked really hard. It was really well paced. You know, it's the kind of match that Stardom fans just eat up. They love the spot, spot, spot. Let's go, you know, do shit kind of match. As a former PWG viewer, I'm very well in tune with this kind of match. But I think they do it really well. It's kind of it's a lot more Dragon Gate than it is PWG, and I think that's the biggest credit you can give to matches like this. That's clearly the inspiration. You know, I think the artist plus are trying to be quite Dragon Gate ish, and I think somehow this trio of Konami, Fukigen, and Rina have managed to do really well with that. When you wouldn't expect those three to be like
They work
super
way better
fast
than
paced kind of.
I would expect. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
they just kind of hit on all the cylinders, right? Like Rina kind of does
yeah.
everything, Konami's the technician, and Fukigen's the fast one. Like it's just something about it just works.
Yeah. I thought the match was quite good. Um, Ida showed some signs of life, which is always good. I worry about her sometimes. Um, yeah, it was very good. It was a very good match. I saw people going fucking ballistic for it, which was interesting, but I thought it was a very good match all the same.
Yeah. I feel like once upon a time I would have. There's so many new Stardom fans that are definitely a bit more like everything is the greatest thing
Easily
ever, and I
impressed.
get it because the very first time I watched Kagetsu, I was like, "This is the greatest wrestler of all time, like ever,"
Well,
and that's not true, but it definitely
yeah,
is like eye popping when you first see it. But yeah, at this point, I've watched a lot of a lot of Joshi trios matches. I think it kind of definitely made this one like it was still very good, but I'm not losing my shit over it, you know. But that's fine. Don't need to lose your shit over everything. Um, and that's the only match from the past week to review because it was a title match. Now, in the week coming up, we do have a Korakuen. I think it's next Tuesday or maybe Saturday.
Tuesday.
I don't
It's
don't
the
do that.
28th, I think.
Oh, Sunday. Okay. Yes. No, it's the 27th. Saturday.
No,
I thought it was
close.
a bit later. But do we have a card for this one? Obviously, we have some card. I don't know if we have a full one.
Oh, we have two
Um,
matches
two
officially.
matches. That's fine. Future Stardom Championship. Hina defends against HANAKO. Um, I
Oh
think the HANAKO
man,
wins. I think HANAKO has to win. I don't think they're gonna skip. I've said this for like the last four defenses of Hina. I don't think they're gonna skip HANAKO and Aya and their generation entirely for this belt. So one of them has to win it, and
well, yeah,
HANAKO
the
skips and
other
goes to
member of
Aya.
that generation is fucking Komomo Minami.
Yeah,
Don't think she's winning it.
she's somewhere else. Yeah, so like it
Uh,
has to be HANAKO or Aya, and I don't think it's Aya. Also, Hina has been burying the shit out of this girl, so I feel like she kind of has to win, or else it looks bad.
I never thought I would say this, but I feel like Stardom doesn't have enough belts. Which is
I
not true.
I
It
disagree.
does.
Yeah,
It does have plenty. It has more than enough belts. But I'm thinking about it, it's like Hina shouldn't not have a belt right now.
that's true. Well, maybe she can win the artist next. Maybe that's where they
That'd be
go.
cool.
One
That'd be
sister
cool.
to
I
the
mean,
other.
God's Eye is not cool, but that would be cool.
Yeah,
Um,
very cool.
yeah,
Maybe she can win it with,
Hanako's.
but Lady C supremacy and whatnot. So
Yes.
yeah,
She can
Hanako
win with Lady
wins.
C and Ami.
Maybe. I don't know. Well, I mean, Lady
It's
C
fine.
might be goddess challengers.
They probably are, which means that
Yeah,
Hina's not winning the trios. Um,
you can.
but
You never know.
yeah, I mean, maybe they're really on the God's Eye bandwagon right now. for some reason.
Maybe. I mean, they did announce Seri is back, so
Sure, you do be back. That's true.
yeah. So she can lead them to greatness.
Hilarious absence, by the way.
Yeah, the injury absence where she wrestled like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, and then just now it's like I don't know. That was weird, but yeah.
Yeah.
I
Tag League, maybe they want her back for Tag League. Would make
when are they
sense.
gonna announce? Oh yeah, Tag League's not for another month. I forgot.
Yeah, it's only September.
Neither is the next pay-per-view. Crazy shit.
Oh yeah.
Wait, Tag League's in 2 months. That's crazy. Yeah, no, Hanako's winning.
HANAKO wins. Yep.
Yeah. I
Um,
don't like saying.
we then have the World of Stardom and Strong Women's Championship double title match. I've kind of I've thought as soon as this was announced, it was to give Saya an extra belt in her bid to win Tokyo Sports Awards, and I'm still standing by that. I don't see what benefit like a 30-minute draw would do for either of them. I obviously don't see Asmi winning the world title. I feel like you have to go with Saya winning and holding both belts aloft, and you can do what you want with them after that. But I do think they want at least the visual of Saya with multiple championships to sell to Tospo.
Yeah. I'm not happy with these 2 matches. I'm having a bad time.
I think this is a
I think
great.
I think this will
I
be a
think this
good
is
match.
great.
But
Yeah, no,
with
it's going to be
predicting
great,
these
and
2
they've set it up
matches,
really well. Oh, you just don't like Azumi losing.
I don't like saying that Hina and Azumi are win. No, I'm not a fan of it. Yeah, they've set it up well enough. I don't know. It's funny because like I did check the first match of the Osaka Edian show, not because I wanted to watch the match, but because I wanted to see if Azumi and B interacted,
Yeah.
because that was the thing that was set up as like they were going to wrestle for the strong belt.
Hmm.
And then
Oh yeah.
Strong died.
Yeah.
Uh, and now Azumi's losing the belt. So I was like, that's interesting how we just kind of like flailed our way here, but okay. Um, yeah, obviously Saya's winning. It's Korakuen. Saya is at her best in Korakuen, and Azumi's even more at her best in Korakuen. So this should be great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's. I wonder. I don't know. I don't know. It's like I saw the future. I was like, oh, Saya's gonna win the strong and the IWGP and become like Triple Crown type gimmick. Um,
Hmm.
but now Shuri's back and is like, I don't want to do anything except for win the IWGP back. And I was like, so what are we talking about here? Um, yeah, so I don't know. I still think that there's a possibility that Saya just beats Sari for the belt, but
Yeah.
without it, it's a bit of a oh look at me, I have a pretty low belt buckle along with my red belt. Uh, I feel like the strong belt doesn't mean much without the IWGP for Saya, but
Uh, I don't know. I mean, I guess, but it's a step. Like you need to win one before you can win the other. So
yeah, true.
gonna have to do it. But also, there's no point in this strong women's style anymore. Like they don't need
No,
it. Nobody needs it. The brand is dead.
I'm shocked that Mercedes doesn't just have it because like it would be
What if
helpful
they
to
might
her
just do her and
cause.
Saya? I really feel like they might just do her Saya. Like AEW will eventually have to ask for Saya Kamitani. Like Tony Khan
I
is blind and oblivious, but his fan base is annoying, and they will go, "Please book Saya," until
I
he
don't
gives
think
it.
Tony Khan is going to sign in or is gonna book any Joshi wrestler because they have to win.
Well, I don't
Like
know.
unless you're Mina Shirakawa who doesn't have to win, who they
I
signed because she doesn't have to win.
think
Um,
Stardom plays ball with him.
I don't think Stardom plays ball with Saya Kamitani.
Stardom played ball
Uh,
with Wave for Saya Kamitani.
that was true. That was
I
crazy. I
fully
forgot
believe
that
Mercedes
happened.
Moné can beat Saya Kamitani. Like I don't know when it would happen, but I fully believe if Mercedes
Which
said, "I
I
want
think
to
is
face Saya."
the same problem with the Sairi of it all with AEW. Sairi has said, "Hey, I want to wrestle in AEW. I want to defend my belt at Wrestle Dream. Give me an opponent. Give me Athena or give me Tony." Tony doesn't have the title anymore, so they could do that, but
Mm,
I don't see TK booking Sari to win a title match on pay-per-view and then never book her again because she's not coming back.
Yeah. Well,
Like, that's
he
ultimately the
would book
problem.
a draw. He would definitely book a draw. He doesn't mind.
On TV, I don't think he would book a draw on pay.
You can have
Which
Tekura's
that
group run in and beat them all down. That's
oh my
fine.
fucking god!
Like, and you can debut somebody to save them. He's not next level. But either way, I think Saya Kamitani wins this belt, and either it fades into the red belt and we all forget about it, or she drops it to an American eventually, because I do think AW will have to book her at some point. Their fan base demands it, basically. Or maybe she's the dome match. Maybe she's on the Wrestle Kingdom, and that's like a thing that they want to do, and they do her and Monet, and that's like the big hey, look, pay attention to Saya match. But yeah, that's all for that show. I didn't think they'd have a card announced because they only ran today, and they usually kind of wait for everything to happen before they announce stuff. So they probably will announce the card tomorrow, and they might add something like Koguma versus Sasuke because they did challenge for the CMLL Japan Women's Championship. But we can only work with what we have, and that's all the content that we had to go through. We knew we would go short because as much as we talked about Mirai, there was only one Marigold show to review, and so we were always going to go a bit short. So usually we do a Q&A, but I had an idea for something a bit more interesting. I think we might need a Q&A soon to fill time, maybe even next week because there's no Marigold. Because I don't think Stardom has anything big after. Stardom would have a new blood, I think. So like maybe, but I don't know if we'll have much to do next week. So this week, what I pitched to Dylan and what he agreed to is we're gonna discuss and list our top 5 Joshi wrestlers of all time. And so, we'll get to explain our reasons why, we'll get to give our lists, we'll get to react, we'll get to do honorable mentions. I just think it's a fun exercise because obviously we've seen a lot from a lot of different eras, and we will have different kind of criteria for what amounts to a top 5 wrestler of all time. So we're just gonna have fun with it. Do you want to go 1 to 5 or 5 to 1? I think
That's up
5
to
to
you.
1. I think 5 to 1 makes the most sense.
5 to 1 is more hard because I'm having a harder time figuring out my like 4 and 5 than I am my 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah,
But
I just think
we could do
5 to
5 to 1.
1, that lets us do honorable mentions. Because I
Mm,
want to start with some honorable mentions. Like, there's a lot of
mm.
wrestlers. So, I don't know if you've prepared honorable mentions or if I want me to go first.
Uh, I funnily enough, I just made a list for my friends.
Okay.
Some of my friends from when I was younger asked me to compile a list of my 25 best wrestlers ever. Um,
Wow.
and so most of them, shocker, are Joshi wrestlers.
Hmm.
In fact, the top 10 is 7 Joshi wrestlers: Mick Foley, Takayama, and John Cena. Those
That's crazy.
that's where we're at. So yeah, I think I have some honorables. Let's do you.
All right. So, you want to go first?
Um, Kagetsu. Kagetsu
Yeah, of
like
course. Yeah.
falls out of my top 5 the more I watch Devil Masami,
Yeah.
who that's kind of a spoiler, is either my number 5 or like my 6 honorable mention type of thing.
Hmm.
I think yeah, I think Masami's my 6. So yeah, Devil Masami and Kagetsu are my 2 honorable mentions. They're just so I if you've listened to this show for long enough, you know that I am very particular about heels. I
Hmm.
need a heel to be like engaging and to put a lot of effort into the heel work that they're doing. I think heels can end up being very lazy sometimes, and it's one of my least favorite things in wrestling. Um, and if you want 2 heels that are never lazy, you get Kagetsu and Devil Masami. Um, I think Dump should also probably be in this honorable mention camp because she's not in my top 5 either.
Possibly. Yeah.
Um, yeah,
The
so
dump is
like those
harder.
3.
He wasn't
Yeah,
around for a while.
Dump's very hard to rank because it's like I've seen a lot more great Devil Masami matches than I have Dump matches, but I've seen a lot of really, really good. Like it's just different.
Yeah.
Stylistically, I'm more into a Devil Masami, and a Kagetsu. But yeah, so those three are all just masters at being heels and
Okay.
wrestlers that I just really adore. Um, Especially Kagetsu, who I wish I could still put in my top five, because he's so good.
Kigetsu's a tough one. Just doesn't have the longevity really when you think
Yeah,
about it. Like the Yu Ashino days are okay, and then Stardom is like a bit of a weird one until he's forced into the world title picture. And then he kind of unlocks and then
yeah, he has like
retires.
this
So
insane, and
yeah,
even
like I
even
get
his
Kigetsu, it's
2019 was a bit
tough.
odd. Like I think Kagetsu for
Mm.
me like peaked higher than like most wrestlers ever. Uh,
Wow.
for my taste, it's like the Momo match, the Hazuki matches, um,
Mayu.
the Mayu matches. Yeah, obviously the Mayu matches. Like that, just like 2 years, even the Hana tag run had a lot of really good matches in it. Like there's just few wrestlers I've had more fun watching than 2017 to 2019 Kagetsu. To 2020 Kagetsu, for that matter, actually, is some of his best work was on the retirement road. Uh, so it's like it's hard, but yeah, I mean, with such a limited uh peak, it's a bit difficult because even 2019 had a few misses.
Yeah.
A lot of which was because of booking. I think the Andras stuff was really weird. Kind of wasted a tag league on Andras and
Yeah.
Kagetsu instead of doing a better Kagetsu team, like Team Moon, which was great the year before. Uh, yeah, and Devil Masami ultimately is because I haven't seen all of her work. I wouldn't be surprised if by the time I've seen every wrestling match I want to watch, Devil Masami is like my number two or number one.
Yeah, Devil is weird. Devil is insane. I'll talk more about Devil later. Um, my honorable mentions. See, my number five spot is literally day to day. Like I will change my mind
Yeah,
tomorrow, and I will change it next week. So my honorable mentions are essentially 5B and 5C. And one of those is Mako Satomura. I talk a lot about how I think Mako is just one of the most insane wrestlers ever. From basically 1998 until 2018, she was capable of standing in there with anybody and having a great match. Like that consistency was absurd. She was a machine. And I think, her early days are fascinating because when she was this like chaotic baby face, she did it in a way nobody else really does. Like she would run at a main eventer and like flail her arms because she knew she was going to get murdered.
yeah,
And it was just, and she would like scream and yell and just play this baby face role in a way I don't really see many other people do. And she then grew into like being the peer of the Gaia legends and had the classic with Hokuto in 2001, and she basically never looked back from there. And even as she aged, I think she managed to keep that kind of aura about her, and she moved a little bit more technical, but still kept a lot of the big stuff that she was capable of doing. And one of the only reasons I think she doesn't make the top five is the last few years, kind of in the UK indie scene, where she was mostly half-assing it, and then kind of the NXT UK run where I think she had some good matches, but not amazing, and
yeah.
then the Bailey match I think was very good. Um, and then, just her only real block to the top five is that last few years where she wasn't as active. But, you know, 20 years of greatness is still something else. Like you just won't get that maybe ever again.
I,
So
there's so many people I want to add to my honorable mentions.
yeah,
I'm like, and
it's
like,
so
because like
tough.
I'm starting to just like think, and I was like, oh fuck. Um, yeah, I'm lower on Mako than a lot of people.
Mm,
Um, I I I've found a lot of her post Gaia stuff a lot more hit or miss than other people have.
yeah.
Um, I think her early Gaia stuff, I would agree, is like some of the best ever. Like some of the best, especially from like a sub 5 year rookie, like
Mm,
95 through 2000. She is so insane. And then yeah, the match with Hokuto in 2001
mm,
is like one of the greatest matches ever. But I would say like for my taste, her technical stuff just didn't hit as hard for me
mm,
as time went on, like her later days stuff, and also just I when I was first really getting into Joshi, I would watch Mako kind of just bully the fuck out of every young wrestler, and I'd be like, man, just let Dash do something, please. Let Kagetsu do stuff, and like it was devastating. So there
Yeah.
was always that kind of like resentment towards her that I've grown out of, but I still don't look particularly fondly on her 2010s as much as other people do.
Okay, I get it. My other honorable mention, and this one will have me tarred and feathered in the streets. I really like.
Go say
She is
Nia
somebody.
Jax.
No, on any given day, number five, like this wrestler could be number four or number five. And I'm gonna have to say Jaguar Yokota, and I'm really
Yep.
sorry. She is insane. Like she is one of the most awe-inspiring wrestlers I've ever seen. Like the stuff she was capable of doing from like 83 to 85, like the way she took what AJW was as like a really grounded American, grappling focused company and worked in lucha and like athleticism was game changing. And she just did stuff that nobody else could do and made it look so easy and so fluid. I've never seen her fuck up any of the hard stuff she tried to do. Like she would go out there for 40 minutes and just have the cleanest, most fluid performance ever. And it's in like she was just insane. And I think the only reason she doesn't get the top five easily is that after her retirement, she went away for a long time. And from there, she's kind of in really bad situations a lot. Like JD Star was promising for a year and then kind of fell off a cliff because their ace retired. And then she's kind of been with Diana for a while, where she was in like the heel gimmick thing and not really doing great or having like high end matches. And so Jaguar's only
Honestly,
issue
I've
is I
really
think the
enjoyed her
post
recent
retirement.
stuff. Like I
Yeah, I
think
mean
I
she's
think
still good,
now she's
definitely.
settled into just kind of like doing what she can, and
Yeah.
isn't trying to do too much, which I think was kind of the trouble with her for a while.
Mm,
And I would agree the heel stuff was a bit hit or miss. Like I like her just recent stuff of just like I'm gonna walk slowly and kill people,
yeah.
and I'm chill, you know. She's eh, again, I'm adding like a million people to my honorable mentions. Um, if I'm being more exact, I would bump dump from my honorable mentions. I put Jaguar in
Yeah.
instead
She
because I
deserves
think
it.
Jaguar
She's an all
Jaguar
time.
is kind of like that six man type of thing. You know,
Mm.
like really like any day you could have her in a top five. So yeah, I would agree.
Do you want to kick off the top five or
Yep.
yeah?
My number five is I'm probably like the biggest fan of this woman of anybody that I know. My number five is Shinobu Kandori. She's just the
Nice.
best.
Yeah.
She's just the fucking best.
Hmm.
I think similar to most of the older wrestlers that are still wrestling, you can see like if you want to be critical, you can find matches of Kandori's in like 2008 through 2020 or whatever, and they're not particularly good. They're very unforgiving. They're very unnotable and not like I said, not great. But if you watch any of her matches from the time she debuted in original JWP until basically like 2000, like that 13 14 year run is just some of the best work you'll ever
Hmm.
see from anyone, especially on a technical level, but also just from a punch you in the face and kill you level. Like I think she's just I don't know, she's just so fucking good. Like again, I'm probably the biggest Kandori fan I know because I'm just obsessed with everything Kandori did. One of my favorite matches ever was Kandori versus Manami Toyota, where Toyota
Oh, dude, instant
tried to
classic.
out wrestle Kandori. Like that was the
Yeah.
story of the match. And Kandori's like, "Fuck you! I'm gonna get you in an armbar leg lock, and you're gonna fucking break in half, and I'm gonna beat you, and I'm gonna win the red world title." Like it's so good. Like she's just such a
Hmm.
smart, captivating wrestler. She's the coolest wrestler fucking ever. Like she's the coolest. Like she's awesome. She's the best. Um, but like I said, her 2000s, 2010s, like a lot of wrestlers who are still wrestling today from the 80s and 90s, do kind of uh, have a noticeable fall off. That you know, like if you sent me a match of Shinobu Kandori from like a random match from 2009, 2010, I'd probably be like, do I want to watch this?
Yeah.
I don't know. But then again, like her stuff in the past 2 years have been great. I feel like a lot of these older wrestlers are like kind of accepting that they're having like they're not on top anymore, but they can still have a good match here or there in recent years. And I think Kandori is one of
Mm.
them because I've liked everything I've seen from her the past couple of years.
I'm glad one of us had Kandori.
Yeah,
She just doesn't have longevity for me to put her up there. But like, yeah, I think most wrestlers should study Kandori tapes because she
I
just
agree.
parried herself in ways that nobody else has ever tried to mimic, and I think she's one of the most replicable wrestlers ever. Because that Toyota match, like her role is simple. She's just, I am gonna beat you at something you can't do, and
Hmm.
like that's it. And she just excels at it, and that is one of my favorite Toyota matches ever because Toyota is just pushed fully out of her comfort zone by this wrestler who will snap her leg if she tries any of her shit. Like it's incredible. So yeah, no, like Kandori is a great pick. I think she's fantastic. Um, my number five, again, this one might be controversial, but I have the utmost respect for this woman. In my eyes, she is one of the best to ever do it. Obviously, she's in my top five. It's Emi Sakura. I She
You were tweeting about her
has,
earlier.
yeah, her catalog's insane. Like she literally popped out as a debutante and was good. Like she
Mm,
immediately was good. And she has been great literally every year since then. You can watch a match from Emi Sakura from any year and it is going to be great. And she like has moved with the times. Like she started as like smaller than everybody else and was like would take these insane bumps on dives, and then as the scene got more grounded and physical, she got more physical. Like her matches with Arisa Nakajima and Kyo Yoneyama, they're nothing like what she was doing in the 90s because the scene had changed. And then you look at like her Gato move stuff, and again, she shifted again because she's not keeping up with it with Mei Suruga. So she's going to be the more technical focused one. She's going to
mhm.
ground everything. She's going to work on her technical game. She's going to be the bully. She's going to chop you to death. She's going to be the nasty older woman. The way she's constantly changed over time to accommodate not only her physical status but the scene around her is the sign of a true genius. I think that's why she's been able to be great for so long. You don't last what, like 30 years as a high level wrestler without that kind of mindset. And I just think that kind of long term quality deserves to be praised. Like there's nobody else I think who could have her consistency, maybe ever.
Yeah, no, I think on a consistency level, um, Emmy is one of the best. I think my problem with Emmy is always when I think of her stylistically and her arrow wise, I always think I liked Yama better most of the years that Emmy was great.
Mm,
So it's like that takes away something. But then again, I haven't watched a ton of Emmy's early stuff.
yeah.
Emmy pre fuck, like 2003.
All right.
When did she? Because obviously I saw a couple of her HAW stuff, but she was a IWA wrestler, wasn't she?
Yeah.
So I only saw a handful of her matches in AJW. I hate that cage match doesn't work anymore. By the way,
Yeah. It's really
you
annoying.
can't
The
you can't
Google.
search it at all because I'm just like,
Mm,
but yeah, like I started. I've mostly seen her ice and gato move stuff. Obviously, like I think
yeah.
that's most people's kind of thing. And I saw a couple of the matches from '97, but beyond that, I really have not seen a ton of her stuff throughout the early to mid 2000s outside of the critically acclaimed stuff that I usually prefer the other wrestler in. Um,
Mm,
like I said, like a Yoneyama. But
yeah.
I think it's a valid ranking. Like I don't have her there, but shouts out to Emi Sakura.
Hell yeah. All right. Who you got in number four?
Oh, oh yeah, this is gonna make you mad. Um,
Oh.
because having her at 4 is kind of sacrilege. I have
Oh,
Aja.
Dylan. Dylan. Dylan.
I have
Come
Aja Kong.
on,
Um,
man.
yeah, and you're gonna get mad at who's my number 3. um, but yeah, I think Aja is obviously one of the greatest ever. Um, every time you watch her at basically any point in her career, you kind of recognize that it's like, oh yeah, this is a wrestler who either is going to be one of the greatest to ever live, or was the greatest to ever live, or is the greatest to ever live. Like depending on what time frame you're watching her in. And I think the guy who makes video essays about greatest wrestler ever, um,
Joseph?
Joseph something. Yes,
Yeah.
he brought up that it's like the thing about Aja is that like it's incredibly impressive to have two incredibly strong peaks as a wrestler,
Mm.
um, which she did. Like she the late '90s she was on top and she was great. In the early '90s she was on top and she was great. In fact,
Yeah.
the weakest point of Aja's stuff I would say is her kind of falling into the kind of like everybody does the same big match in AJW in
Mm.
like 94, 95. That is like probably the biggest uh place where I differ from a lot of people is that it's like I really didn't like almost any of her Minami Toyota matches. Um outside of
Her and Toyota until like 96 is not as great as
I didn't I
people
didn't
made
like I
it out
didn't
to
like
be.
the 96 or the 97 matches either.
Really?
Outside of
Wow, those are
outside of
great.
91, did they have the singles match? We watched it in Victory Through Guts,
Yeah.
where I was like, "Oh, this is awesome." Uh, yeah, they had a shit ton of singles matches in '91. Um, their stuff that year was great.
Hmm.
They had two, but so like a lot of Aja's stuff in the mid '90s, I kind of wasn't as into. But when you look at just when you look at a wrestler who is so great at so many things, I don't know. I'm kind of regretting putting her at four,
Yeah,
but
I don't know. You stuck with us now. I'm gonna judge you
yeah,
forever.
yeah, you know,
Yeah.
I think she's
Well,
great,
I'll
obviously.
comment more on Aja later. There's
Yes,
no point in commenting. So, um, my number 4 is Akira Hokuto. Um, I think there's nobody peaked higher than Akira Hokuto. Like there will
yeah,
never be a wrestler with the output of that Dangerous Queen run. And I think her big problem is that she didn't last 20 years like a lot of her peers, but the years we did get were insane. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like she has a claim to 3 of the best matches of all time, which in my eyes is a lot. Like I don't give out that kind of acclaim to just anybody, but you can make a case that either of the Kandori matches is the best match ever. You could
mm,
say that the Meiko Satomura match in '01 is the best match ever. And I just feel like the fact she peaked so high guarantees her a spot on this list. And beyond that, I think she was great outside of that. People don't watch the Marine Wolves stuff, but we've seen the Marine Wolves. We know she was great. Even as the androgynous babyface against Bull Nakano, she was great. Gaia, people always act like she just fell off in Gaia, but she was just murdering people. Like I think isn't it like 96? There's a match in the middle of nowhere with her and Kyoru, and she just mauls Kyoru. It's insane. Like she spent her entire Gaia run killing people. It is incredible. And so I just think there's very few people who have ever been like her. There's very few people who brought that sense of like genuine scary violence the way she did. Like that Kandori match, and I'm gonna keep bringing it up. There's a one point where LCO are like in tears watching her get her ass
yeah,
beat. Like she legitimately was getting fucked up, and her friends were bawling, crying in the front row. And you're just like, she is insane. She would risk her body like that. She was like, "You're a judoka, an Olympic level fighter. Punch me. Go ahead." That's what this match needs. She's insane, and she is like the best ever. If you're talking about peaks, there will never be another Dangerous Queen. There may never be anybody who is even close to what the Dangerous Queen was. But she's number 4, just because I tend to value longevity, and she just doesn't have it as much as I think the top 3. So that's the only kind of
see,
mark against her.
I'm the inverse. I think longevity helps an argument, it hurts an argument, but it doesn't make an argument. So I will talk about her later.
Ooh, okay, all right. Well, who's your number 3 then?
Um, the most controversial one, undoubtedly,
Oh
because
God,
nobody likes praising wrestlers as they live, and as they wrestle.
dude, you're not gonna. This isn't
So
who
my
I
number
think you.
3 is Mayu Utani.
Oh.
I think
Wow.
realistically, from my point of view, I have Mayu and Aja on a pretty even level. Like I
Holy
wouldn't put
shit.
either one above the other. It's a little bit more fun to put Mayu at 3 because it makes people be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" But I think when you look at a Mayu Iwatani, she has all of the great things that I mentioned about Kagetsu. She's just persisted with them for an extra 6 years, and has gotten better. like like you can like I said, my one of my favorite wrestlers ever is Kagetsu. One of my favorite peaks of any wrestlers is Kagetsu in 2018, 2019. There's an argument to be made that Mayu was on Kagetsu level that entire time.
Mm,
And Mayu has gotten maybe, maybe a little bit below depending on injuries and like what she was doing, but she was right there with him. And Mayu has gotten better since then. She had, 2021 was a bit of a iffy. There were, I think there was, like that Shuri match I wasn't too crazy about. Like there's the Julia series, don't love. But Mayu is just so absurdly good at the understanding of pro wrestling that I don't think there's anybody of the past 20 years who comes close. Like even like at all. I think she's the best of her generation. She's one of the best ever. I think that there is an argument to be made that it's like she doesn't have the longevity because like what she got really good starting in 2015, so it's been maybe 2016 depending on who you ask. um so it's been 10 years of her being great, in comparison to an Aja Kong who had, like I said, two peaks, and still has, has one of my favorite matches of the year this year. Not, the top 25 or 30 or something, but like has a very high level match this year. you know um what is it, 39 years after her debut. That's insane. So obviously Mayu doesn't have that longevity, but I don't know if there's any wrestler who, for my like, who impresses me, who moves me, who really like just gets wrestling on the level that Mayu does. But like I said, 10 years of greatness um is a bit short, so that's why she's not like number. Because I've had, funnily enough, I'm arguing for Mayu to be this high up. I have to argue with Scott for her to not be number one. You know what I
right,
mean?
well,
So it's
Scott
like,
is no ball. We haven't got Scott to watch
and
the
and
Legends
to be
yet.
fair, I don't think it's even ridiculous to call her like top two. But for my view of it, it's
Yeah.
different.
I mean, I'm definitely not as opposed to putting Mayu up here as I think some historians or purists might be. Um, I think she is an excellent wrestler. She has been. I mean, since essentially the matches with Mako, Kyrie, and Io. Um, and she's kind of had this like great variety of matches as well. She's able to like work different ways and work with different opponents, and the match where she mauls Unagi is just as memorable as the matches with Momo and Kagetsu and stuff like that. So yeah, I think she's a very high level wrestler, and I think if you were to ask me to name a top 20, I think she's on there very easily. I just feel like she's somebody who's going to have to do this for a few more years for me to have her creep up on the top 5. Like I think if she's in Marigold for 10 years and she becomes this like legendary old lady who is like
Hmm.
the measuring stick of the company, I think that will put her there. But yeah, for now, I just think it's too early, especially for top 3. But I can't argue with it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think she's just kind of insane.
No,
like
you're right.
like
She is.
I think she has some of the best tag matches of all time. She has some of the
Mhm.
best singles matches. She has one of the coolest styles of all time.
Yeah.
She's one of the best bumpers and sellers of all time. Especially bumpers. She probably
Mm.
is for my money, probably is the best bumper to ever live, like in wrestling. Period. Her bumps are insane, and she had. I mean, I always bring it up. EO said, "I can teach you a lot of things, but I can't teach you how to bump. Ask Mayu." Like that is,
Yeah.
and EO, while she isn't on my top 10, or yeah, she'd probably fall off at like top 14 or something like that. top 20. But Io is a wrestler who is so mechanically gifted that for her to be like, I can't even come close to what Mayu does in this department. That's saying something.
Yeah.
Um, and I think just like when you look at it like that, covering all of the bases, which I know in wrestling sometimes people don't love, and sometimes is done, is a bit overhyped to be able to do everything. But in a certain sense, I think Mayu is able to do everything without becoming what Minoru Suzuki calls a gray blob. Like Mayu is Mayu, but she
Yeah.
can also do literally everything anytime you ask her to, and she could do it great.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right. I accept it. My number three then. My number 3 and 2 are also interchangeable. I think it's very much a 2A, 2B situation, but
Mm,
my number 3 is actually Devil Masami.
mm.
Somebody who I gain a bigger appreciation of every time I watch her. I've always enjoyed her 90s stuff. Like, she is a fantastic power wrestler. She is fantastic at demolishing her opponents in that era and is one of the most entertaining wrestlers to watch. It's kind of the 80s stuff that'll make or break her. But I think,
I think her
the
80s
stuff.
stuff is so fucking good.
Oh, yeah, no, for
Like
sure. I
I'm
mean, the
the
stuff in
opposite of you.
'84 with like the Crush Gals tags, both
Mhm.
of those are insane. I think I love and adore, and I know this is like one of the more random matches, but her and Nagayo at Dream Slam is a match that every
Oh,
time
it's
I
great.
watch, I
Yeah,
enjoy more. Like, they had the entire venue wrapped around their fingers. It
that
is
was the first time I
magical.
understood,
Yeah,
if that makes
no,
sense.
like,
Like
that match opened my
I
eyes to
got
a
it.
lot.
Yeah,
Like, they just masterfully took that crowd on a journey, and
which
I
I
think,
will say maybe the best pairing to have one of the worst matches I've ever seen.
possibly.
Because Devil versus Zero is legitimately one of the worst matches I've ever seen.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
it's
Nagayo had
god awful.
some odd phases. But yeah, like Devil, I think she was an insane technician. She was an insane villain. She was incredible at like getting the crowd to respond to her stuff. And I think, the matches kind of around the time where AJW was changing and transforming when the Crush Gals were on the rise, she kind of met the expectations and had these really intriguing matches. Her and Nagayo from the, is it Osaka or Sumo Hall? I can't remember. Maybe it's the Budokan. Summer Night. You know the one, Summer
Yeah,
Night.
it's Budokan.
Budokan. Like, that one is such a fascinating match. Like, this, they did so much that you have to pay attention to, and like at the end, she's just punching Nagayo in the face. You're
That's
like,
one of
what?
my favorite like spot. It's not even a spot. It's just like her punching her,
It's
but it's one of
insane.
like the coolest looking things of all time. Like
It
yeah,
is.
no,
And I think she just, as she grew older and like grew bigger, and the scene around her got smaller, she was able to just transform into this just absolutely dominant force, unlike almost anything we've ever seen. And so I just think for somebody to be that good in so many ways for so long, you absolutely have to put her on here. Like,
yeah.
she deserves to be top three, and on some days I think you could argue that she's number two, but for now she's number three.
Like I said, I haven't seen enough of her. Funnily enough, her '90s stuff because we're the inverse. You kind of got into Devil because you really liked her JWP stuff, and you were always like, her '80s. Whereas like I saw a couple of her JWP matches. And I was like, yeah, she's pretty cool. She's good. But I didn't really get it outside of obviously the Dream Slam match. I didn't really get it until I watched her stuff from the '80s.
Yeah.
And like I haven't seen, like I said, if had seen every Devil Masami match, she would probably be my favorite wrestler ever.
Mm.
Like I just haven't, I haven't gotten to all of them.
Yeah.
So uh, that is one area where I will 100% like admit being like having not seen enough because I haven't seen a lot of her JWP stuff,
Hmm.
which you hold in very high regard. Uh, that's a blind spot for me. But yeah, she is one of the best ever, one of the coolest ever. Again, I think there's a cool factor that you have to apply to everybody. I think that's
Yeah.
important. That's an important aspect of my favorite of the best wrestlers for me. Um, and yeah, I mean, like you can go back to like the early '80s. Her and Yokota had a shoot pin junior title match,
Mm.
and I like it more than other people as far as I know. But that match is just so mechanically insane and so good, and they meshed so well together. Obviously, Empress duo, but they were just always so good together and so locked in together that there's something so special about those two, and especially Devil for me.
Yeah.
Because yeah, and I mean, I guess it's my turn unless you had more to say.
No,
Um,
it's all your.
um, she was in my favorite wrestling match ever. Devil
Mm.
Masami was with my number two, um, which is Shikusa Nagayo. It's the tag match. It's
Yeah.
technically a tag match. It's not the match, which I also thought was great, but it's Devil and Jaguar versus Crush Gals is my favorite
Hmm.
ever, and Shikusa Nagayo is someone that I always kind of Nagayo's interesting for me because sometimes she's the only wrestler in my top 5 that sometimes just kind of like falls out of it. It kind of and she's at my number 2, which is kind of why it's funny. But sometimes I watch stuff from the 80s and I'm just like, Alliance Asuka's better. And it kind of just like completely breaks my perception of Chigusa Nagayo. And then I have to watch another match of Chigusa Nagayo and I'm like, oh no, she's the greatest to ever live. Like it it very much fluctuates, and it's kind of a struggle of being paired with somebody who obviously is not in either of our top 5s as far as I can tell. Unless you're about to surprise me with your number 2. Um, with Linus Asuka, it's difficult because I think Linus Asuka is so fucking good, and in a
Mm.
way, it makes me question Chigusa. But then you watch Chigusa's best stuff, and there's just nobody like her ever, like
Yeah.
legitimately. Like I said with Mayu, except in a completely different way, especially with the fan engagement. Like that's obviously there's nobody that can control a crowd as well as Chigusa Nagayo. She's like fucking John Cena on steroids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
On, I mean John Cena. You get my point. Like she's like every great Hulkamania, everything like that to a million. Um, and she had that for so long. I think her Gaia stuff, because she was so how do I put it? Because she had to shift her style from being a pure babyface in the 80s to being, an older, more matured,
Hmm.
larger wrestler, it forced her to like master a whole different style. And I think she did a seamless job of doing that. Um, I think you look at like Peps just sent me a match. He was like, "You gotta watch it." It was Aja versus Chigusa Nagaya from Korakuen and Gaia, and I was just like, Chigusa's just better than everybody, man.
Hmm.
Basically, like it's kind of insane. Um, I'm running out of adjectives, but she's very strong in my number 2. Uh, yeah,
Yeah, she's also my number 2. I think Chigusa Nagayo was special in a way that you just may never see again. I think the dump matches, you could ask every wrestler on the planet right now to wrestle that match 100 times and they would not do as well as Nagayo does. I think the second hair versus hair match, she literally does not hit a single move of offense successfully. And yet, that crowd is eating out of her palms the entire time. The entire time. She just had a way about her to feel so human and superhuman at the same time. Like watching her makes me hate modern wrestling to an extent because I was like, there is nobody who just gets what they're meant to be the way she does. She's not a fucking Super Saiyan. She's not rolling on her neck and standing up to like yell. She's a human in a wrestling ring, and you want to root for her. And I think it gets lost in a lot of it that she was also a very, very talented wrestler. Like her matches when she wasn't with Dump, when she was asked to do work rate stuff. Like I think the Crush Gals had some very fun matches with the Jumping Bomb Angels, where you could see that they were keeping up with the Jumping Bomb Angels. The match you talked about, the Devil and Jaguar versus Crush Gals, a lot of work ratey stuff, and it all works. Like Nagayo could keep up with just about anybody in that era, while also having an audience wrapped around her finger. I think what really takes her over the top for me is that transformation when she retired and she
yeah,
came back as a more angry, more bruiser type, and she shifted so seamlessly to being able to like just aura farm almost and just kill people. There are Gaia matches where she's against two rookies and she will just murder them in 90 seconds.
Yeah.
There is nobody presenting themselves like an absolute god the way she was presenting herself like a god. And then when she would meet these, like, she does this one match with Kandori, and like they stare off, and it's just like you
Yeah,
just
yeah,
sit
no, I
there, you're
remember.
like, this is it. This is the good stuff. And so
I
I
think
do
there's an
just think
argument to
that
be made. It's a Sabu-esque argument. That Chigusa Nagayo was so cool that she was actually a hindrance to pro wrestling
yeah,
because every old wrestler just wanted to be Gaia Chigusa.
yeah.
That's why we have Ozaki now. That's why we have Kyoko Inoue now. They
Yeah.
all were like, wait, she can just do that? Obviously, they were all kind of doing it at the same time, but not on the level that Chigusa was.
No,
Not to
not even
the
close.
amount of like cult esque, figurehead that Chigusa was. And so like that's where the argument's always like, oh, Sabu innovated so much of like modern hardcore wrestling, and if you don't like modern hardcore wrestling, you might have a more negative opinion of Sabu, even if he was great at it. uh
Mm,
that's arguably the most damning thing against Chigusa Nagayo is that she was so cool and so able to just fuck people up,
yeah,
that everybody was just like, wait, I just want to do that. Can I do that? You can't. You're not Chigusa Nagayo.
no. And the last point I'll give on Nagayo is I do think that her like facial expressions were able to like
Yeah.
sell a match in kind of very in ways that nobody else really matches, because I always think back to that one AJW match where she's against it's a tag match against Saki Hasagawa, and the entire time she's just glaring like death glare at Hasagawa as she walks down to the ramp, and without even knowing the backstory, I was like, I'm into this. Like, I'm so into this match because, like, you have the biggest legend in the company history glaring daggers at you her entire
Yeah.
entrance, like stuff like that. And even when she got to Gaia and had to aura farm and would
Oh,
do
I
the
mean,
like the
like
big
the
stare downs, like there was just nobody who could manipulate the crowd the way she could with just a change of a facial expression.
Asuka betraying her and then subsequently
Hmm.
joining up with her are two of the coolest wrestling
Yeah,
segments ever. And like they're a real like indictment on people who think that like Japanese wrestling can't do like the melodrama right.
yeah,
Um a lot of Puro can't. Like I'm not gonna pretend here, but Chigusa and Asuka, who again, it always pains me because I do adore Linus Asuka, but like
yeah. No, I understand Linus
it
Asuka Truthers. I think she's
it
great,
it,
but
it
Nagayo
makes
just had a
yeah.
connection that I think
Yeah,
puts her way over the
it's a
top.
very difficult because again, at certain points in time, I've been like Linus Asuka 100%, a million
Mm.
percent. That's it. Chigusa Nagayo, she's awesome, but it's not Linus Asuka. But who I am right now, I'm kind of like, I'm sorry, Linus, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
but it's just different. She's just a different animal.
she is. But I'm very intrigued because I don't know who your number one is. Like, I have no
We
guess.
we swapped the maid of honor with the wife or with uh,
Oh,
the bride, because my number one's Akira Hokuto. Um,
wow. Okay. Wow.
so the thing is with Akira Hokuto, um, she's my favorite singles wrestler of all time,
Mm.
and she's my favorite tag wrestler of all time.
Okay.
So she kind of just like it just kind of makes it hard for anybody to really compete because the Marine Wolves is like a top five tag team of all time, and that's not even including her stuff with Bull, which was short lived
Mm.
but incredible. Her stuff with LCO, again, not super long lived. People think it lasted a lot longer than it did, but like her prime stuff with LCO, incredible. Her stuff with Ozaki, incredibly underrated. And just as a tag wrestler, incredible. Her stuff with Hoda in the late '80s, also very like you know how you brought up Mako and her first 5 years kind of being
Yeah.
great, but a bit undersold. That's
Hmm.
how Hokuto was. Maybe not her first year because HW didn't really let you do stuff your first year and a half. But by like 87 through 91, people don't know that she was just a fucking psycho demon
Yeah.
who was breaking her neck for this shit and coming back to fucking kill people. At like, she was just so good all the time. um and that's just on a tag front. The single stuff, like you said, has some of the best singles matches of all time. Has some of the best matches of all time. Period. The Kandori ones and the Mako one being the big ones. But even beyond that, like you brought up the Bull one, I'm a much bigger fan of the Bull Hokuto match than a lot of people are, because it
Mm.
was just, I don't know, there was something about her like really like rising to the occasion to fight her. And even the cage match, also a great one.
Yeah.
Like I'm kind of rambling, but like that yeah, the 141, the January 4th 91, that match is like one of my favorite matches to rewatch from the 90s in
Mm.
AJW, the early 90s in AJW. Just because there was something, the crowd was so engaged, obviously. Hokuto was so out of her mind, and they just worked so well together that it's, again, one of my favorite matches from that bull reign. It's one of the first signs of Hokuto being this insane singles wrestler. And it was at the same time as Hokuto was already having great matches in the tag team with Marine Wolves and, elsewhere. I don't know. Again, I'm rambling. I've been talking a lot, but so I'm probably not making my point super well. But I think even if you can make an argument against her because her peak was so strong and elsewhere wasn't, I think my argument would be her peak was like from 89 until 94 when she retired. And that's an absurd fucking peak. Like that's not normal. And then she had another great few years in Gaia, and she had one of the best matches ever in her last year as a pro wrestler. Like she just is the epitome of a pro wrestler. I think
Yeah.
of a great all time pro wrestler. Uh, Even if she doesn't have I think the problem ultimately is that with someone like Aja, who I will let you talk about in a minute, with somebody like Aja, it's so mathematically correct that she's the best, because it's
Yeah.
like 39 years. That's not like, if you're wrestling for that long and you can have a great match in, year 2 and in year 39, that's something different. But there's just something about Hokuto that I value so much, watching all of her matches, being able to get a real like uh, understanding, because I've watched, like, I would say like 85% of the available Hokuto matches, because there aren't a ton of them. Maybe not the I've missed a handful from the late 80s, but I've seen a shit ton of Hokuto's matches. So I'm able to get a very a very concise understanding of her as a wrestler, that I think I value that more than
Okay.
the 38 years that, like, yeah, I can't watch all that. I recognize I've seen 100 great Aja matches. Don't get me wrong, but it's difficult to quantify in my brain as a wrestling fan. So while I understand that that's an issue with me and not with Aja, that's where my preference for an Akira comes in.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with it. I would agree that her peak is literally the best one ever. Now, I wouldn't say she was peaked as long as you do, but yeah, like everything from the Dangerous Queen is pretty insane, and she has one of the rare matches. I would say, if you were to put a gun to my head and get me to throw stars at things, she has one of the few 5-star matches I would say ever. The Kandori stuff is legitimately some of the best in-ring storytelling ever, over the course of like 4 different matches from 2 different promotions, whether Kandori was there or not. Like the Rumi Kazama match where she like shaves her head, and then that
Yeah.
adds more anger to the Kandori stuff. and then her and Kandori having to team up to face Bull and Aja, and the way they tell the story in that match, like legitimately some of the best stuff ever. And I can't argue with you putting her number one. I can't argue with anyone putting her number one, because whether the flame burned for a long time, it burned brightest, you know? So I
Yeah.
get it. But we're going on, so I will just move on to my number one, Aja Kong. In my eyes, there will never be another Aja Kong. Wrestling will never see anybody as complete as Aja Kong. She was a monstrous presence, a big, powerful bastard, could move like a Ferrari, and is just a genius. The fact that to this day she can make you a star by deciding how much to sell is
Mhm.
legitimately ridiculous. People knew I was going to be a star when Aja, over the course of 3
Even
matches,
before.
built up to her lariating her and
Yeah.
bumping for a lariat. Like she, how do you do that? Like after 39 years, how are you still that locked in? And like the match with Senka at WrestleMania weekend this year, it had one of the best crowd reactions. There is no doubt in my mind nobody in that audience knew who the hell Senka Akatsuki was, and yet through just sheer
Well, they did,
intensity
but
and like willpower and intelligence, she got that entire venue on their feet for Senka. Like, obviously Senka played a big part in that, but you need to be Aja Kong on the other side to make that match work. And I just feel like every time I watch her, I just get the sense that I'm watching the best wrestler ever. Even in Arjan, like there's the
underrated
Omakai match.
work in Arjan.
Yeah, like there's that Omakai match where she's just like stamping on her arm, and you're like, this is, yeah. Why wouldn't you just stamp on her arm? You're Aja Kong, you know what I mean? And she like picks apart the arm and is like standing on her hand and is just taking away all the weapons, and you're like, this is somebody who could legitimately do everything. And I think the thing with Aja to me is that one of my favorite matches ever is the Thunder Queen battle, and at least 40 minutes of Thunder Queen battle is built around, we need to stop Aja Kong. Like that is the
Yeah.
entire focus of Team JWP, is not letting her murk their entire team, because every time she got in, she would turn the tide of the match. Like just everything she ever did from every era, I think is amazing. I mean the fact that from 1992 up until today, you could say she's had excellent matches, match of the year contenders, is never going to be replicated. I maybe it's presumptuous, but I just don't think in my lifetime I will ever see a wrestler operate at
I,
her level ever again, because they're just not making them like Aja anymore. Wrestling
I
has
do
moved so
think.
far away from that.
Sorry to interrupt, but I do think that one thing about Aja that like is very, and you kind of touched on it, that very much speaks to me as a wrestling fan. Even more than some of the people I put above. Um, but it's a very specific ability, and it's something that her and Kandori I think are two big ones. Is that like the strategic storytelling within a match that Aja does, and has done this entire time, like for basically her entire career, is so well done. I mean, this is a wild comparison, but I talk about how Rhea Seto and Yuzuki work super well together on this podcast a lot, and it's because they have very thought out spots and sequences together, and their entire matches are very strategically uh, told, like from a storytelling point. And I think Aja is better at that than basically anybody ever, and that is one of the greatest abilities you can possibly have. Especially when you are someone her size, like, and you are such a you're kind of typecast as a wrestler. You have to be able to make each match, uh, the story of each match strategically unique while maintaining your aura and your presence. And I think Aja does that better than basically anybody. Um, I think it's similar to a Kandori in that sense, uh, and that's something that I value a lot, and that's why Aja is so high on my list. Uh, Among many other reasons, but is because of her ability to tell that strategic story, like you said in the Thunder Queen, like
Mm.
the slaying of the beast thing. And how it's a fucking long ass match, but like there's that through line with Aja, and that is incredibly important. That's what makes or breaks a lot of matches. Um, and I think Aja pretty much consistently was able to keep the story of the match in her control, and deliver satisfying conclusions as a result.
I feel like she always just knew how much to sell, when to sell, like all that kind of stuff from day one. Like, there's a lot of wrestlers who I think in her position would have had really bad matches in that AJW house style in the mid 90s.
Mm.
And she kind of managed to make it work. Like her and Dynamite Kansai,
That
if
is a
it's
great
not
match. Yeah.
them two, that's a terrible match, right? But they
Yeah.
just made it work because they're them and Aja is Aja, and even she kind of succumbed to it eventually because everybody kind of was just doing finisher spam for like 50 minutes. But like everything beyond that, I think is insane. And she always had so much in her locker that she like wouldn't do, which I always think is insane. Like she could do suicide dives and she could do top rope stuff and she could do moonsaults. And so these like rare matches where she'd pull them out, you have something that makes you stand up and go, holy shit. Like I've seen so many Aja Kong matches, and even still to this day, there'd be something that she can do that just makes me go, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Like her pulling out a suicide dive in like 96 in a 6-woman tag with Kuga is ridiculous, right? But she could do
Yeah.
it. She did the moonsault against Bull. Like she could do all this stuff, but she didn't because she knew that would make it more special. This is part of the IQ stuff that I praise so much, but
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like there will just never be
Jungle Jack
somebody with her
stuff
combo.
was also
Jungle
insane.
Jack, insane. Brawling, like she could brawl as well. She's
Yeah.
literally, there's nothing she can't do. She has for like 39 years now just been an elite tier pro wrestler. And there will just never be anybody with her kind of output, with her kind of consistency, with her kind of talent. And, Akira peaked really high, but I think if Akira Hokuto doesn't exist, Aja Kong holds the reins for the best peak, of any wrestler. So, she's my number one. I don't think anybody will ever knock her off that perch anytime soon. But that this was fun. This is a fun
Yeah.
little exercise. We'll be back next week. We'll review the Korakuen for Stardom, and we will preview the Marigold house shows that kick back in, and I think New Blood. So should be a relatively quiet one. We might end up doing a Q&A. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, it's time to close the show. Unless Dylan has anything he said to say.
Our final conversation, Aja's probably closer to 3 than Mayu is. I think Mayu's probably 4.
I would
Like I
hope so.
said, I do have them on a very similar field for different reasons, vastly different reasons, obviously. But I think Aja, you know, might edge Mayu a little bit. But yeah, that was a fun time. Um, check out the Tweeter and look at my music videos I've been making because those have been time consuming but also fun and
Mm.
creatively stimulating. So do that and yeah, don't ask me when the next No Limit is. We don't know. And also, hopefully soon, me, Scott, and Xavier will do another live stream because I know Harkin
Ooh,
has been asking us to do another one.
very
Because
nice.
yeah, so hopefully soon. Hopefully soon.
Trying to get Scott is the big problem, but I'm sure you guys
Yeah,
can work.
trying to like get Scott to like want to do something outside of his
Yeah,
normal like publication schedule is a bit difficult. Because I like we hang out like we go on call with him basically every week, but it's never like he doesn't want to perform. You know what I mean? I don't want to perform. Actually, I always want to perform. Scott and Xavier
yeah,
don't want to perform all times, so I get it.
yeah. Well, here's hoping that happens because they're always fun. You guys are
Yes,
kind of chaos in a bottle.
a little bit.
Um, but yeah, with that, it's time to close the show. If you want to stand, you may stand. If you want to sit, you may sit. Believe today, shine tomorrow. You decide what you believe in.
Shine forever, stardom, quest, gold, dope, Pesha. And you don't know how much I
Yeah.
wanted to put Nanai in at like number 5 just for
Oh,
shits and
she
giggles.
was probably an
Like
honorable
she's
mention if we
yeah,
had done
like
that.
she's easily a top 50, but I like
Yeah.
it's hard to but yeah, shouts out to Nai. Passion.
Ijo.
Bijou.